Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. In this hustle and hurry world, I thought a message on the blessing of rest would be a good message for all of us to hear. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned. I'll get started right after the break. All right, dear listener, please note this show was produced a few years ago, but I wanted to share it along with some of my other shows because I thought it was really good. All right. I don't know about you, but I am often asked about New Year's resolutions. Do I make them? Do I keep them? Or do I do nothing? And the answer is, yeah, a little bit of all of them. I know this show is before the new year, but I wanted to check in and see if you don't have a New Year's resolution, if I could convince you to consider my resolution for the new year, and that is, some of you need to take time and rest. Really, that's it. Rest. The dictionary describes rest as ceasing work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. At my age, I'm probably over halfway through my life, and I have just begun to reorder a lot of things, and one of them for me actually is rest. Due to some minor health issues, I was forced to reevaluate my sleep and resting times, and then make some changes. My body now needs a few more hours of sleep than just a few years ago, so I can recharge and recover so I can keep going. Now, if you had told me when I was younger that I would be in bed before midnight, I would have never believed you, because I am one of those people who likes to stay up and work in the quiet of the evening. No phone calls, no traffic, no noise, just peace and quiet, and just some downtime to do my work. Since I'm self-employed, I spend a lot of my days getting work and have to spend my nights getting my work done. So it's a really unusual combination, but it works for me. So, as we head into the new year, since I'm a curious person, I was interested in the numerical meaning of the number 15 for the upcoming year. I had a lot of other ideas for the New Year's show, but then I got to wondering if the number 15 had meaning, either an ancient text or current number study, and I came across a few facts. So the meaning of the number 15 in the Bible, a historical ancient text, pictures rest, which comes after deliverance, represented by the number 14. The 15th day of the Hebrew month is the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, or we would call Passover, a day of rest. The 15th day of the 7th Hebrew month begins with the Feast of the Tabernacle, or Sukkot, which is also a day of rest. From ancient texts to study of numbers, the number 15 represents a dissolution of difficult conditions, i.e. your problems disappear. Dissolution means terminating, ending, or closing of a difficult time. Condition, circumstance, situation, environment, setting, or surrounding. So, the number 15 represents a dissolution of difficult conditions. All right, I found some more information I just want to share. 15, the number of days in each of the 24 cycles of the Chinese calendar. 15 is the number of guns in a gun salute to Army, Marine, Air Force, Lieutenant Generals, and Navy, and Coast Guard Vice Admirals. The number of letters in the word uncopyrightable, and some of the other longest words in the English language that do not repeat a letter. Can you tell I like the game Scrabble? 15 is the atomic number of phosphorus. A crystal anniversary celebrates 15 years. It is a multiple of 3, a multiple of 5. It is a composite number, a whole number. A real number, a natural number, an odd number. All right, enough with my fascination with the number 15. What I want to focus on is my first idea, and that is of rest, which is not what I thought I would talk about on the show, but it keeps coming back to me, so I had to go with my impression that this might be a needed idea for all of us. We all know that we need rest, but most of us don't do it until our bodies demand it. Thus, the worldwide endemic issue of exhaustion, multiple diseases, and sickness. When I think about how hard the past year has been in the world and our collective conscience, I really do think we should heed the idea of rest for our New Year's resolution. For myself, I was thinking about making the year of finishing the projects I started but didn't get around to completing. I really thought that this might be the year, but as I stopped and looked around and did a recalibration of my time, my physical and mental energy, I was blocked from reconsidering the issue of rest versus finishing. Yes, I am all about getting my work done, finished, complete. But I also realize in my world, nothing's ever really done because I keep adding to it. The greatest lesson I learned years ago was not the word no. No, I'm not able to be on that committee. No, I'm not going to lead that organization. No, I'm not able, and you can fill in the blank. And you know what the most amazing part of that was? They found other good people to step up and do the work. I, for one, could not be happier, and I cheered them on. A number of years ago, I realized if I don't take time to rest, I won't be here to complete many more projects because my body just might give out on me. So I'm taking to heart the concept of 2015 from a biblical view and picture of rest and the numerical representation of dissolution of difficult conditions, i.e. your problems will soon disappear. I decided I'm going to take it seriously. Since I've stopped and literally taken a turn in my thinking from finishing, which no doubt I will do, but probably not start a new project this year, to rest, which will be hard. I got to tell you, it's hard for me to slow down because then it's like it takes twice as long to get back up to speed. But I really did need to maintain my health and well-being. I think it's a wise study of what's needed in life and certainly in yours because it is in mine and most of my friends. The idea of rest at first doesn't seem hard until you have to stay up late and finish a project or clean the house or stay up with a sick child or be with a friend in the emergency room. Then our noble idea of rest comes to an abrupt end and we're sliding back to exhaustion again. I could recite to you study after study after study that will tell you in scientific terms and health terms and physical terms that your body, mind, soul, and spirit need rest. But until you commit to doing something about it, I'm not going to make any inroads to changing your thinking. I simply trust that you'll consider my offer to take a 3, 6, 9, 12-month sabbatical for you, whatever that means, to help you rest. And I don't just mean not going to work. When I think about rest, I think about maybe saying no to all the other things people ask of me when the workday is over, just for a short time. One of the reasons that the idea of rest is weighing on me is that in the last year, I've seen the most unsettling things in the world that have no doubt scarred the minds and souls of most of us. Can you remember a time in your life when you saw on TV the beheading of innocent people, the destruction of ancient and famous places, the unsettling of home and nation due to war, famine, disease, starvation, lack of water? I could just go on and on. There is no way that our mind's eye can see and absorb this damage without some equal response from the body. They say that everything has an equal response. And since this past year, and I am talking about 2015, so I know this is a little bit old, has shown all of us the unspeakable dreadfulness of war, displacement, and pain. I have to stop and wonder just how much we can take without it negatively affecting us. We're seeing the idea of fear scrolling to the top of every list that every group is putting out. If you remember a show I did a while back, walking alone at night is the new #1 fear in America. That is shocking. We can't be free to walk alone without someone purposely choosing to cause innocent strangers harm. Listen, I could go on and on, but you know the numbers and statistics. You hear the bad news 24/7 from every talking head, using shocking language and pictures to instill fear and unrest, unsettlement and unease in all of us. Friends, it's taking its toll. And you see that in the acting out of so many people. I mean, think about it. Have you ever seen or heard such anger and fury and rage from random people, some you know, some you don't? Certainly on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It is shocking. Friends, our world has changed, and I'm not sure if it's for the better. So with that in mind, I believe you got to take care of yourself and your family in these unsettling times. Trust me, kids feel it even when they can't explain it. It is a pressure that weighs heavy on them. So you say, hey, Deb, fix it. You're right. How do we change the channel, so to speak, without putting our head in the sand and refusing to see the world for what it is? Well, bottom line, you probably need to limit your TV watching and bad news listening and restrict the violent apps on your kid's iPad or computer gaming system. These numbers are from 2015. They're probably worse by now. I went ahead and did a dive into where we are now, 2025, and it says this: studies estimate an average child that watches 23 hours of TV a week, by age 18, that child will have witnessed 200,000 acts of TV violence, including 40,000 murders. That's unbelievable. And let me just add one more thing. They're now saying that probably 80% of Americans will say TV violence is causing real life mayhem. You can find these staggering numbers online, certainly on Google and other places. But here's my big point. Knowing that all this is pulsating through the atmosphere, what can you do to protect yourself and your family? Here's my suggestion. Friends, you and I have got to create an atmosphere of rest and quiet, peace and calm. Why? Because that is the only way to combat the outside noise and settle our heart and mind. Resting's not going to come easy. It is a real life change, and it will be hard to do. But the year and the numbers that are calling you to think about taking charge of your life, yourself, and your rest. This is the year. Just a quick aside, I travel so much, and I would get to my speaking engagements and I would notice that I was very angst and I couldn't figure out why. And finally I realized I don't do well with all the noise in airports. I mean, you think about all the beep, beep, beep and all the people rushing and people trying to get places and all the announcements. So now I wear earplugs. I wear earplugs all the time. And believe it or not, it has helped my stress level come back down to normal. I don't know about you, but I always joke that when I come home from vacation, I need to rest. Makes me wonder if it was a vacation or another day at the office in a different location, getting all my work in case I missed something. I have some friends and we go to their beach house and they are very good about shut the computer down. We are headed to the beach and it's just a time of quiet and rest, prayer, relaxation, just gentle waves coming through because we're on the East Coast, not the Pacific Ocean. So the waves are pretty gentle around here. All that to say, this year, I am going to rest. I'm going to rest when it's appropriate. Sit quietly, doing nothing, letting my heart rate slow down. Maybe my evenings will come a bit earlier. My mornings, well, they've always come a bit late. I'm not a morning person. Here's my bigger point. I have decided at this age of my life, I have no intention of running myself into the ground and then the grave. Listen, I'm going to go one day, but I am going to mark that year that I decided to slow it down and remember the fun, the time with friends and family, the food, the donuts, all the good things in life, because I still want to be healthy, wealthy, and a little wiser. So all I'm going to ask, I know it's an unusual message. Friend, I want you to set your boundaries. And as you're setting your boundaries, consider what it would take for your boundary to help you rest. All right, I know, crazy message today, but I cannot begin to tell you how many people I see who simply just move from one event to the other, and then they get to the weekend and they literally fall over. Friend, don't be that person. You and I can do big things. We can help others. We can make a difference in the lives of our friends and family, but, we're going to have to do our part to help them find some time to rest. All right, my friends, you've been listening to Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Life. I hope you join me next week so we can continue this journey together as we work towards a better day. And remember, Deb doesn't care what the world says about you. I want you to know I care about you, and I care about you because I believe you can do big things. That is only going to happen when you have the energy because you've rested. So big things can come your way, and now you have the strength to push through. And here's my promise. I will walk alongside you as we follow your dream to greatness together. All right, thanks for listening. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.